This video is not an ASMR video. While we are in a very peaceful place, I will be sharing details of my life that may be triggering. There will be themes of abuse, mental illness, physical chronic illness. Let's say this is nighttime and you're used to watching me at night to relax with an ASMR video. I highly recommend skipping over this one, coming back to it another time perhaps, or you don't have to watch it at all. So I'll start in the beginning. 5 years ago, October 2019, I started making ASMR videos. It was such a passion and special interest of mine and brought me great joy. At the time I was studying naturopathic medicine and I was so hopeful and motivated. I wanted to share what I was learning in the form of ASMR, and I was one of the first creators to make real person medical ASMR and coined that term. And it has just blossomed since then, which is so wonderful. I also made real person massage ASMR, and I featured heavily the different therapies and medicines like traditional Chinese medicine, chiropractic, and botanical medicine that we were learning at school. A lot of you have asked me, are you still in school? Are you a naturopathic doctor now? Have you started your practice? So I want to answer your questions about that here. Naturopathic school was extremely difficult for me. I think it was difficult for all my classmates, but I felt overwhelmed by all the different medicines and therapies I had to learn. I never felt like I had enough time, so I would just cram and hope for the best. And I was able to make ends meet before the pandemic hit because I had my peers and we could study together and support each other. I didn't feel alone. But once the pandemic hit and we were isolated and I had to work online, I have a neurodivergent brain. I struggle to focus, especially when it comes to screens. I become exhausted by the stimulation very quickly, and having to have my eyes glued on the screen all day long throughout all my courses, assignments, modules I had to go through, it was impossible for me. I also live with a chronic illness called rheumatoid arthritis, where I become fatigued very easily, and I suffer from stiff and achy joints and flu-like illness when it flares up. And this chronic illness made it that much more difficult for me to continue my studies. There are some personal traumas that happened early on in the pandemic that activated some deep and heavy childhood traumas that were buried inside me. I didn't even know were there. I was in an abusive relationship with a narcissistic man. I shared a little bit about this in one of my videos with my dear friend Theodore, who's now named Hiraya, and I'll link that in the info cards here. It was constant manipulation. I grew to become very fearful of him. I was not myself afterwards. I was also involved in a small religion that taught me to only focus on the positive traits of others, to turn a blind eye to the negative things. And when you're facing hardships and difficulties, the religion taught me that that's what I deserved because of all the negative karma that I amassed, and that the only way to release myself of this karma is to endure the hardships. And there were a lot of scare tactics, messaging that I am possessed by evil spirits and that I can't trust my own intuition. And so I think a lot of these teachings that were deeply entrenched in me made way for this abuse to happen. And it took a few months for me to finally be able to let go of this relationship, thanks to the support of my family. From there on, I felt a lot of my deeper wounds become activated as a child. One of the primary wounds that I will share now that may be disturbing for some viewers. I was at a boarding school for ages of 7 to 11. I was in a classroom with 50 students under a teacher that was extremely abusive and narcissistic. And it wasn't just emotional abuse, there was physical abuse as well. Regular physical abuse. It was terrifying. If you didn't obey her rules, if she was in a bad mood, if you didn't please her in some way, shape, or form, if you didn't perform well enough in grades, that was a major point, is if you didn't perform well enough in grades, she would make sure you were punished through humiliation or through physical punishment. And so from a young age, I learned to always please her and be on her good side and shut down the wild, authentic, silly, eccentric parts of myself, because that was not allowed. This boarding school was in a different country where physical abuse and punishment was okay. I didn't share with my parents what I had been through, but by the time I was 11, they withdrew me from that school because my mom suspected there was something seriously wrong in that classroom. And I'm glad she did, and they brought us back here to Canada. But for years now, nearly 20 years later, I still have nightmares about my time there. At the start of the pandemic, after that abusive relationship with the man, it activated so much of this childhood trauma. My PTSD was so intense that I would often revert into this fearful, helpless young child begging to be spared. And I don't think any child deserves to go through that. That trauma bled into the education I was receiving at Naturopathic School. And I started having recurring panic attacks before school, especially when I couldn't keep up with my schoolwork. And I felt so deeply ashamed coming from a culture where education is so highly valued above one's own health. When I started to realize that I was slipping and I couldn't continue my schooling anymore, I was so afraid of the response of my family, of my school, my friends, of my viewers. Nearly 4 years of my time, my energy, so much money into Naturopathic School, and I couldn't do it. In mid-2022, I decided to leave. And at the same time, I decided to leave the religion that I was a part of that really made me feel unworthy and ashamed of myself. I received a lot of judgment and disapproval. I had family members and friends that told me that they were disappointed in me. I felt like such a failure to be a grad school dropout. But at the same time, there was this growing voice in me that said, Semide, you've made the right decision. I felt a freedom slowly trickle in. The freedom that I had my life back, my time back. Thanks to all of you watching my videos, I was able to pay off all my tuition and pay the bills and also co-purchase this farm with my parents and live out here. So we moved out here in August 2022, 2 years ago. The best decision I ever made, leaving Toronto behind and coming out here into this beautiful, peaceful place. YouTube was also very difficult for me in those few years. I suffered from this mentality that my worth was in other people's approval, whether it was my friends, my family, education system, my partner, my viewers. One negative comment on my YouTube channel crushed me. Thankfully, that has passed now, and I'm able to enjoy filming again. I also want to take this time to respond to some of your questions about a former lover of mine that I dated between late 2020 and early last year, 2023. She has been a big part of my channel. Many of you have grown to love her and care for her. She has been with me through some of the most difficult, darkest times. She was a healing balm for me after that really abusive relationship I went through. She was by my side every time I went through my episodes of PTSD and my panic attacks. And August 2022, we moved out here together to live with my parents, and we tried it out. But it didn't end up working out for her. There were, of course, many other personal reasons that I will keep to myself out of respect for her privacy. And I know that many of you are heartbroken. You have grown to cherish her through my videos. And I wanted to hold space for that heartbreak, that pain. And I was wondering maybe we could do a little ritual together here by Ama Asha and by this beautiful creek. I have brought some items that hold a lot of significance. She spent countless hours making 1,000 paper cranes. And in the Japanese tradition, to make 1,000 paper cranes, you can make any wish come true. And she gifted the 1,000 paper cranes to me, and I have yet to make a wish with them. So I didn't bring all of them out here because there are so many. So I thought I'd just choose one of each color and have them symbolize all 1,000 paper cranes that she made. And together we can release them with all these different wildflowers that I've collected into the water with a prayer and a wish for her to activate the magic of the 1,000 paper cranes and send her the biggest blessings. And in doing so, releasing her with that beautiful prayer. Many of you notice that a lot of her videos are missing from my channel, some of your most beloved videos. I cannot share why, but it was important for me to honor that wish of hers, and so I did. And I know that's hard for a lot of you who fell asleep every night to those videos. Sadly, there's nothing I can do, but of course we can honor the memory of those videos and those beautiful moments together. So let's go ahead and do that. So here I am in this beautiful water with Ama Asha, Mother Cedar, overlooking us and providing us with such unconditional love and care, and the sacred water that will move any stagnant energy and send any blessings and magical wishes to our loved ones. I think so few of us in the Western world have access to a private and sacred water source, and I feel so blessed to be here. This is a ritual that my dear friend Hiraya taught me. So I've got the little paper cranes. I've got a yellow one here, which I will adorn with some goldenrod. And activating the power of 1,000 paper cranes, this particular color, yellow, reminds me of the sun. So I wish that she may be blessed and bathed with a beautiful sun, always feeling nourished and loved and healed. Go on. Blue. I'm going to use these little wildflowers right there. And blue reminds me of the open sky and of water as well. May there be beautiful flow in her life and expansiveness and freedom as well. Go on. Here's a pink one, and I brought pink flowers, but they're missing. But I brought some purple asters, New England asters. Here it is. And it's purple. May you be blessed with eternal love, unconditional love and care by the people in your life and the people before you. May you always feel held and welcomed. And may that love heal your heart. Off you go. Those two have already gone really far. This picture right here. And I have a green one. And I picked some clover that is looking wilted now. And the clover symbolizes good luck, prosperity and wealth, and so much abundance. Off you go. And finally, the white paper crane. For new beginnings, for healing the inner child and on the wounds that you carry. May they be swept clean so that you may be full of laughter and playfulness. Off you go. And here's a tiger's eye. One of the first conversations that she and I had was about crystals, and particularly the tiger's eye, which imbues one with strength and resilience. And so I throw this tiger's eye for her so that she may have the strength to endure any hardships that come her way. And she may always be repaired and held. More flowers. And the picture I think I'll place this in a special place in the forest that meant a lot to her. So I'll hold on to this for now. There is so much more to share with you, of course. And I think I want to leave the rest of it in a different video. But I want to end this video by letting you know that I am in a much more healed place. This sanctuary, albeit full of bugs, and the bugs are welcome, has been better to me than any type of medicine and healing that I've ever learned in school or otherwise. I feel reborn. I feel so happy. And I feel so held and loved. And my parents who moved out here with me have been committed to healing our shared trauma and conflict and working at communicating effectively and better loving and nurturing each other. We've come to understand each other better, and this multi-generational living has been such a blessing. Oh, but this land, this water, every time I step into this water, I am healed. It gives me life. The sun bathing and kissing my skin nurtures me with so much abundance and unconditional love. This tree provides me with a medicine that I've needed my whole life. And the creatures, the animals on the farm, my cats, Yaya, Queenie, and Taxi, my dogs, Ash, and now Zelda, my chickens, my baby chicks, my gardens that bring me so much happiness and so many abundant nutrients. My home, the yurt, the small yurt I currently live in, my cabin, and the large yurt that I am working on, which I will share more about in the next video. It is a wonderful life. It's not without challenges, but it is absolutely wonderful. And I can't wait to share more of it with you. For now, I would love to ask you to go to my official TikTok account, which we just launched. I will have it linked in the pinned comment, in the description. I'll put in an info card as well up here. And I invite you to go check out my TikTok because I have so much content on there, exclusive content, snippets of my old videos, as well as my newer videos, but with exclusive angles that you've never seen before. And I can't wait to see you there. There are a few other TikTok accounts that are not mine, and including one that is, I think, called I Am Semide. That is not me. It actually isn't Semide. But mine is semide.asmr, which I will link in the description and pinned comment. I'd love for you to join me there. Thank you all so much. Thank you for all your love and kindness and support. Thank you for watching my videos these past 5 years. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to see you next week, where I share you more of the wonderful developments in my life and how I've healed these past few years. Bye now.